Welcome to the Manuchehri podcast. Over the last 30 years, it has been my joy to assist humanity in aligning with their magnificence so they may heal, discover their natural gifts, and communicate with loved ones living on the other side. May you also experience delight while we dance in the powerful, intuitive world of energy. Let's get going. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our Energy Meets the Divine. Or if you're new to this podcast, welcome. I hope you enjoy it. Before I answer any questions today, I kind of want to talk about this continual conversation about how things are changing on planet Earth. So a lot of things are changing. And even this whole interesting dichotomy about male energy and female energy. And it's changing rapidly. Seriously. And I think in a way, men are having a little bit harder time with the shifts that are occurring. I think women have been working on themselves for a really long time and taking responsibility for their experiences in life and getting therapy and getting coaches and meditating. Men have too, a much smaller percentage than the population on Earth. And so we have this really interesting situation occurring where women are in a different place. They've spent more time and energy on themselves. So that means they could have improved their education, improved their monetary experience in life. They can be happier, more fulfilled, get a lot of their emotional fulfillment from their female relationships and great guy friends, and hopefully partners that are in that type of vibration as well. But we're noticing, it's been going on for a little while, but now everybody's kind of talking about it, that there are some people, men and women in the world, who are still trying to make it work from these old paradigms where men need to make more money than women. Yeah, that's not always going to happen. And that women still need to be the people who are doing the majority of the domestic work if people are in heterosexual partnerships. And there's children involved, but certainly domestic chores. So that's not working anymore for women in a huge percentage. So the majority of the population of women, regardless of their age, they're no longer content with that. That no longer makes them happy. They would much rather be alone if they can't have a partner that is supportive as they have been. So that means someone who adores them and cherishes them and is excited about their successes and can change off in the work environment. You know, I think that a lot of Americans in particular need sabbaticals. They need to have time off from work. And I think if someone's in a partnership, regardless of what that partnership looks like or what the relationship looks like, that people can take turns helping their partner take time off and do self-exploration, do inner healing, and then switch back to the other partner so that they can go off and have their own sabbatical. So I think it would be important if we start working in this paradigm collectively, regardless how we see ourselves as a human being, but putting energy into helping whomever, could be a man, a woman, or someone who doesn't identify in either gender, to help these individuals kind of raise their frequency and raise their vibration. I'm not saying that we're just going to give up on our own energy. I'm not saying that at all. But a lot of spiritualists will send energy around the planet for peace, to end wars, to end famine. There's like this lovely constant stream of awareness that goes out to the whole entire planet collectively to help us end wars, right? And feed the entire planet, because there's really no logical reason to have a war on Earth. There's no logical reason that people are not fed or housed. Understandably, souls are having their own experiences, but regardless of that, spiritualists are continually spreading their energy around the universe, but Earth, because when you're outside of a human reality or a physical reality, no one needs food, shelter, and there are no weapons. No one has a body, so you can't kill anyone. You just can't. So perhaps we can hold, regardless how we identify our physicalness, but hold this energy that we all get to be precious, amazing, independent, successful, creative, powerful beings of light, no matter who we are. Like holding that for ourselves, I think is critical, right? Absolutely critical. And also wanting that for everyone else on the planet. Because sometimes, and I'm speaking about women right now, or that identification, let's just say, sometimes we can just be annoyed and be frustrated and just go, "Ugh, I'm just going to do everything on my own." Okay, well, and that's a fortunate thing when we can and we do. That's lovely. I think it's great to be independent. But how about we also are inviting everyone, regardless of their gender or their belief system, we're just inviting everyone, just like we send energy around the world to help other beings recover or experience things that everyone deserves. Why don't we send energy around the world that we're moving into a collective consciousness together? That we all are lovable and deserving and valuable, and that we're all going to treat each other with that type of energy. Sometimes when I've looked at some relationships where maybe if we're talking about a heterosexual partnership, the roles were kind of traditional. Maybe the woman worked, but maybe she worked part-time. And the rest of the time, of course, she's taking care of a household and raising children and cooking and cleaning and, all of that, which is a tremendous job, by the way. And the husband was more in their traditional role, providing, maybe doing some of the chores in the house or the outside or whatnot. And now, for whatever reason, the female component of this relationship has educated herself or discovered a business that she loves and is now outperforming financially her spouse. And unfortunately, some masculine type energy isn't comfortable with that. And we need to invite men to be comfortable with this, or all people, right? Like, because some women don't also value or appreciate the fact that women can be successful all on their own and out earn a masculine person. So we need to get comfortable with success. It doesn't matter who it is. What we want, more importantly, is we want people to be fulfilled. And I think women have spent more time in that question. What would fulfill me? What would turn me on? What would get me excited? What would lead me passionately? And so they've had a little bit more advanced awareness of this, and they have been following suit and being curious and figuring this out for themselves so that they could ultimately, whenever the time was right for them, re-educate themselves or start a business. And we want to celebrate that. We also want men to be fulfilled and to be able to create the resources that they want in their life. But we want to celebrate everyone's success. Everyone's success. We want to celebrate that. We want to recognize, and to me, success is happiness, right? Success is happiness and fulfillment, doing whatever you want in this world that brings you great, powerful joy. And when people do things that are authentically joyful for them, there are rewards, financial and otherwise. And so that's what we want to put out into the world. Like, it's not a competition. It's not that, oh, we need to go back to these old roles so that we can be harmonious in our relationships. No, that those days are over with. They are not returning. They're fading, because we need to evolve collectively together in a way where we become individualized, regardless of what our body looks like. So, as you're going through your own experiences or the experiences of your friends or your family members, keep this in mind. And we may need to remind ourselves and other people what's really happening in the world. Nothing's wrong. We're on an evolutionary projection of something that is meant to be fully alive and well on Earth. And there's some pockets of Earth that have this, like Iceland. Perfect example, where women still make maybe a teeny tiny less than men for the same job, but it's under $1. It's maybe 10 cents for some positions. And the government is fully run by women. And it's going very well. It's going very well in that part of the country or the world. So this is something that's happening now in the consciousness throughout the world. But maybe the US is a little bit of the hot seat right now, because maybe we're just a little bit behind globally. Okay, we'll go ahead and go to the questions.
Hi, Mary. My name is Angelique, and I live on an island called Mauritius. I sent you a message a couple of months ago, but I haven't heard the answer yet. I know it takes some time for you to reply. My partner decided to take a break in our relationship, and I'm not very hopeful for what's coming. I'm not sure he's gonna want to continue the relationship, and
Excuse me.
obviously, I'd love to have your insights about that if you can see anything with regards to my relationship. But more importantly, I have been dependent on him financially, and I really need to find something that I can do in order to stand on my own two feet. I am a jewelry designer and a
Oh,
mom, and a single mom of two,
mhm.
and I'd really, really want to be independent financially.
Good.
If you have any insight for me as to what I could do in order to do that, I would be so grateful. I love you lots, and I love everything that you do in the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Angelique. I love you too. And your kids. So, one of the first things you need to work on, and this is like a problem for a lot of humans, more women than men, but men too, these days, men too, where they're not recognizing that the vibration of wealth has nothing to do with work. It's a very separate energy. And that's the energy you need to create. That's the energy you need to build. That's the energy you want to sustain. And then things happen where we get really cool jobs or we get resources from some other aspect, not from someone that you really don't want to be in a relationship with. I think that's something that needs to be vacated from our relationship bonds, that it cannot be about finances. Unless the relationship is extremely fulfilling and both people are seriously happy and enjoying themselves, that's different. But many times people cohabitate for reasons that are not in their highest good. And cohabitating for resources is not in our highest good. It's not. You have to think of things that make you really, 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 really happy. And every time you connect with your resources, credit card, checkbook, online banking, getting mail that is about financial resources, you have to change your energy. You have to think about that thing and feel that thing that makes you joyful. And I do see art. I see like this beautiful painting of like forget me nots and mysterious. It's got a lot of lavender in it. Anything that you can focus on, but that really runs your energy high. It cannot be your children. It can't be anything that could potentially disappoint you or be really difficult or hard in your life. It has to be something that's actually neutral. So color, texture, obviously design, so that your jewelry becomes valuable. What you make is well received, or whatever you do in the world is valuable and appreciated. But that's what you have to work on. Anybody who wants to have more resources in their life, more wealth, they have to work on changing their vibration when they're activated in their wealth. Because most people enter into the relationship with wealth with low frequency, low vibration. They're not happy, they're scared, they're worried, they're in doubt, they don't have a history of positive interaction with their resources. And so they lower their frequency. And wealth is actually a high vibrational energy. Charles opened up the door. He came in. Charles, how do you open up the door? He's been doing that a lot lately. I know you can't see him. I'll see if I can lower this. Yeah, he's right here. Charles, are you right here? Yeah. He was sleeping on the couch when I came in. So that's what you have to work on. You have to work on raising your vibration, because wealth is a high frequency. And when people raise their vibration as they're interacting with money, then they receive more money. Everything gets easier. Things are not a financial challenge, but that's what you have to work on, so that no matter what relationship you're in, this is not one of the primary reasons why you stay. That you stay because it's fulfilling and joyful and fun and pleasurable for the both of you. Right? Okay. It's a great question, by the way.
Hi, Marie. My name is Sophia. I am from the Catskill Plateau region of New York,
Yeah.
and I listen to your podcast all the time. Thank you so much for listening to us
Welcome.
and for allowing us to share space with one another. I am calling today because I'm 22. I am about to graduate college. I'm actually about
Yay.
to enter my final exam
Yay.
ever as a student. I'm about to enter the world sort of as an adult, and I have a job as a
Great.
Montessori teacher lined up, and I'm very
Yay.
excited about it. And there's been so many things happening in my life with my family and with other professional endeavors and with my idea of school. And I have been feeling sort of like a little kid riding a bike who is doing it, and I'm still crying. And I can't really tell if it's just because I'm scared of like falling off this bike of life or what it is. But I feel myself every day sort of like having this interior shake, this idea that maybe I'm coming into the coolest version of myself through
Love
advocacy work and other
that.
community organizing that I'm really proud of. But I'm also feeling like a beautiful being of light who is perhaps struggling with the density of this planet, of this place, of my role in this whole thing. And I'm asking today what is in my highest interest to know about in what ways I can channel my energy for the next 5-6 years, because I grew up sort of as a young kid always thinking like I'm going to die young, I want to die young. I went through a lot of depression and still dealing with a couple of like addictive tendencies and all these like beautiful cycles that I probably chose to go through. And I'm also realizing that maybe I don't want to choose to leave this planet as soon as I had maybe originally thought. And so
Yeah.
I know that the next 4 or 5 years are going to be really intense, and we've chosen to be on this planet at this time. And so I'm just asking for guidance on maybe where I should best be focusing my energy. What parts of my energy field can you see maybe need a little bit of attention and love? And I'm so grateful for every single person on this podcast that I've shared listening space with and receptive energy with. And thank you so much again, Marie, for everything that you do. We love you a lot, and I hope to hear from you soon. Yep, bye.
Thanks, Sophia. And I know you recorded this a little while ago, but still, congratulations on your graduation and your Montessori job, which you are probably doing right now. Sounds like a perfect first job out in the world with your education degree and all that you've learned. So you kind of were a little bit of a great reflection of high energy, low energy, high energy, low energy. And that's what you really need to capture. I live on the same planet as you, and I think life is amazing. I think it's incredible. I love being here. I think it's fascinating. You have to learn to stay present. And I wouldn't get involved in community issues unless it brings you joy. It's not about accountability or responsibility. Every person who's on a Greenpeace vessel right now saving tuna and dolphins, which I'm grateful that they do that, I hope everyone who's on those vessels is actually having a blast, because that's when you know you're in alignment. And when people are thinking about the world at large, when it's not happening to them, like you live in New York, a state that's going to make sure that whatever the federal government does isn't going to massively affect those that live within the state's boundaries, just like me. I live in Washington State. Our governors and mayors make very different decisions than the federal policies to the best of their ability. So it doesn't mean that other people are affected by the things that are changing in the world in your community. They are. But if it doesn't bring you joy, please do not be active in these social causes out of responsibility or guilt or all the other words that you said. And then when you would say that you feel like you're a beautiful being of light, then your vibration rises. And then you start talking about death. Like, who cares when we die anyway? But I don't see you dying anytime soon. So that was not an intuitive experience you had. That was a social media overthinking generational experience you had based on not being fully present when you were younger for moments, because you have this beautiful ability where you go high in vibration and then you drop your energy. Go high in vibration, then you drop your energy. You want to work on managing that, not dropping your energy, maintaining a high frequency. So catching yourself, saying some beautiful internal self-nurturing words to your beautiful being so you don't drop down to something that's not happening or that will never happen or that has nothing to do with you. Being present means being present. We make better decisions for the world when we're present. We don't make the best decisions when we're thinking about what's happening to other people. That's not what's happening to you. It's not your experience. Unless those experiences would bring you joy. I loved putting in IVs. I didn't like putting in NG tubes. It was not my favorite thing. When I worked at Evergreen Hospital, which is still a very cool hospital, and the staff worked very well and closely together, and most of the time when you were working with a fellow nurse next to you, like you didn't have the same caseloads, but you were in the same hallway or the same wing area of your floor. Most of the time we'd ask each other, is there stuff you don't like to do? And if the nurse said, yeah, I don't like doing this, and the other nurse says, I'm happy to do that for you. I don't like doing this. Great, I'll do that for you. Because we wanted our patients to also have the best experience. If we're going to go and do something that's semi-invasive, we want to do it well. We want to do it quick, efficiently, kindly, safely. We would want that for our patients. So I think one of the reasons why I love that hospital so much is that we supported each other, because if we were doing what brought us joy, we were having a blast. We were doing it well. It was highly effective. So stay in your own lane. Stop looking over your shoulder. Stop looking at the world unless something about it brings you joy. So sometimes I would be the nurse that would get called down to access a port, because sometimes the ER staff didn't access these particular ports that were under the skin very often. And they also wanted the patient to have an amazing experience while their port's being accessed. So they would call our floor, and whoever would go, yeah, that sounds like fun. I'll be right down. That's what you need to do, right? Don't get in the Greenpeace boat unless you want to be in the freezing cold, saving tuna and dolphins, because it brings you joy. I hope that's helpful. Okay, I want you to focus on that for the next 5 years. Thank you.
Hi, Marie. My name is Jena Swan. I live in Roseville, California. Thank you so much for spreading your love and light. I listen to you as often as I can. I work in special education, primarily from home, about 70% of the time. Work behind a desk. Since March, I've developed neck pain. I have done everything I could think of to mitigate this, utilizing a standing desk, working on my posture, stretching. My husband is an occupational therapist, so he's helping me out, but it's not seemed to help in any way. I'm a runner, I eat well, and I'm doing a deep dive into my spirituality, and just really, expanding my awareness, working on different things. But I feel like there is something I'm missing with this. Maybe it's a block. I'm not sure. I feel like I'm doing everything I can to help it. It's not getting better. I could really use your help to figure out this problem. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Take care.
Thank you, Jena, and thank you for what you do in the world. We all appreciate it. Thank you so much. I would find a master muscle activator. They're amazing at figuring out where there's weakness in the body and where there's strength. And you do these tiny little muscles and everything gets better. Yeah, you only have to have a few appointments. It's pretty cool. So that's what I would do to help with this acute situation so that you can be in a better space. But this is all about speaking your truth. So that means that maybe the work you're doing, even though you may believe in it, perhaps you believe it needs to be done differently, or you don't want to do it anymore. And that means you need to figure out how to do this differently, or you need to do something else in your life. And it doesn't mean you have to do it right away, like, oh, tomorrow you have to quit your job and go study something else or go explore. I do want you to explore, but it means you need to search yourself and find out what you honestly feel about the work that you're doing, about its effectiveness, about Is it fulfilling for you? Which I don't think it is, even though I think the work is amazing and I love that you get to work from home. Also, your body doesn't like to sit for that long. Yeah. I used to see clients in person. And I like to stand. This is a standing desk too. I obviously sit the whole time that I work, teach, or whatnot. And my body doesn't like it when I sit for a long time, which forced me to reduce the amount of client sessions I was actually doing per day. And it turns out I just needed more free time. I wanted to spend more time not working. So I want you to look at this from all these angles. Instead of looking at it like structurally, there's something wrong with your body. You just have to fix the structure and it's going to be fine. I'm not saying that's not true. That's why I want you to go see this master muscle activator. You have to look for one in your area, but there's always an underlying energetic connection. And these are the reasons why you're really having these experiences. It has something to do with you're not in alignment with your philosophy, your belief system, with your passion. Something's off, or with your time. You don't want to sit there that long. Maybe you do want to do the work. Maybe if you give yourself freedom, you'll start to create your own way of helping children with your own unique belief system, or things that you feel passionately about that you're going to study. But it needs to be less time. Could be one of the other reasons why you're having these issues. So just recognizing that, talking about it, doing some automatic writing about it, do some positive what if questions, that will help the pain not to come back, to stay away, and for you to be more devoted to your own truth, whatever that is, right? Your own truth. I hope that's helpful. Thank you.
Hi, Marie. This is Tracy. I'm calling from the eastern shore of Virginia, near Virginia Beach,
Pretty.
actually Williamsburg, Yorktown area.
Pretty.
I am so grateful for your podcast and all the information that you provide every caller. And there's so much that I can learn from everything that I hear.
Yay.
It's almost as if it speaks to me directly.
Ooh, that's what I want.
I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way. So my question for you today.
Yeah.
My brother passed away almost a year ago.
No.
And his beautiful wife, my nieces, and my sister miss him dearly.
Of course.
So I was hoping that you could connect with my brother, Steve,
Sure. Yeah.
and bring in some information that may help support his family here, that may bring comfort to them and peace to them.
And to you.
And for my sister and myself.
Yeah, right. To everyone.
I also wanted to ask, and I know you only do one question. And I've had a couple of out-of-body experiences.
Oh.
I thought they were actually near-death experiences.
No.
But I don't think that I died. I remember being outside of my body experiencing these.
Right.
And there was one time where I was in this tunnel in this beautiful light. And there was like two lights, a red and a green. And I was going to hit the red light because I wanted to stay.
Yeah.
No. I wanted to stay in the heavens.
Got to hit the green light.
But somebody hit the green light and told me there's a purpose for your life and sent me back.
Right.
And I don't know if that was my higher soul, if it was a guardian angel, or if you can even provide any feedback on that. I'm just curious to know how many angels I do have working with me. Anyway, thank you, Marie. Thank you for all of your work and your beautiful Charles and Kitty and just everything that you do to support the community. Love you. Bye-bye.
Love you too. And I'm sorry that your brother passed. I'll get to him in a moment. I can see him clearly. A lot of times when I'm doing mediumship work, my eyes will go off to my left-hand side, which would be the left-hand side of the camera. I think it's mirrored anyway on Riverside, which is where I record. But it goes off to the left-hand side. That's where I see dead people, and where I witness past lives is kind of on my left, at least when I'm working, right? So you're right. It was not a near-death experience. And what I would love because I think you're going to have more of these experiences, is that you do your best to translate them from your emotions, the authentic emotional body, not your mind. The intellect will never understand intuition. So it wasn't a near-death experience where the red and the green light were about stay on earth, go to heaven. It was actually kind of a test in a way, because you tell the universe all the time that you want to have massive intuitive and multisensory experiences. You do. It's like it's been your mantra. And yet you don't allow yourself to have these experiences because you have to stop thinking. You have to become present. You have to get out of your way, so to speak. Maybe meditate, do some qigong, stop listening to the mind in order to have these experiences that you desire. And they're right there. They're right there. So the green light, which is the light I want you to always push if this ever happens again. The green light was kind of your inner human awareness saying, yes, I want these multisensory experiences. Yes. But you push the red light because you interpreted this from your intellect. Intuition will never make sense to the intellect, and we can't use our logical mind to decipher intuition. It's impossible. You can't. Your brother's quite handsome, happy on the other side. I don't know if someone passed away shortly before he did or shortly after, but he believed there would be either a friend or a family member or somebody was going to cross before him or after him. And he wanted to be on the other side for this person as well. He wanted to show some sort of responsibility for someone else's life. I don't know if it was a parent or a friend, but that was one of the reasons why he crossed at the time that he did. It was for that. Some people do it when there's someone super close, but I don't think it was someone super close. Like, even if our parents leave, sometimes we're not that close to our parents, or we haven't seen them in years, or we don't spend a lot of time with them. But that was one of the things that he said. I feel like that while he was on Earth, he was kind of confused about just life in general. And I don't mean that he made poor choices or made mistakes. I don't really, it could have been that way, but I feel like he was just existing, not really thriving for himself. And he says that on the other side, that's what he's doing, is really taking the time to figure out who he is, what he wants, how to thrive for himself. And he hears everyone's prayers and conversations. He says the whole family talks to him every day as if he never left his body. He loves that, loves it, because even though he has left his body, he's still very present in everyone's life and loves to be seen and communicated to in that way. It brings him great joy. And he wishes everyone who has left Earth and their family is still on Earth, he wishes everyone would have the experience that he's having, where his family speaks to him, acts as if he's there, included for birthday parties, holidays. He loves it. He's grateful, eternally grateful. It helps him not miss everyone so much. So that's what he has to say. I hope that brings you guys some comfort. Thank you.
Hello, Marie. This is Dori from Fayetteville, Arkansas. Thank you so much for everything you do. I absolutely love your podcast. I'm calling to see if you could contact my mother, who died in 2004. Oh. I started going to psychics and so on after her passing to see, basically wanted okay. Just like everyone else, wanted to know that she was okay. Yeah. And never felt satisfied with it. So finally kind of let it go. But then through a strange series of events, was led back to contact a psychic, I guess it was last year, whom I had talked to as just sort of a friend deal. Anyway, in that reading, my mother allegedly did come through and was saying, you know, I don't give up on me. I still want to be your mother. And the lady, the psychic, told me that she was showing herself in a straitjacket, which wasn't so far-fetched because my mom was a recovering alcoholic, struggled with alcoholism. But then the psychic medium got a very disturbed look, said that she was being shown very disturbing images, and just sort of went off to another subject, said, I'm not going there, and went on to another subject. Needless to say, this was very disturbing to me. So I prayed and meditated on it for a few days afterwards and satisfied myself by saying that the psychic medium must have just misunderstood what my mother was trying to tell her. So I've listened to your podcast for a while now and considered leaving this voicemail just to see what you might come up with, any chance you might contact my mother, because I really haven't felt any sort of contact from her, except through perhaps birds who she loved and I love. And also, my dad also passed in 2006. But I have recently sort of felt like a connection from him, that if he happened to show up, that would be interesting as well. So anyway, thank you so much for all you do. I absolutely love you and love your podcast and appreciate all the information you and good stuff you put out into the world. So keep up the good work. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you, Dori. And I love you and everyone. I love all of you very, very much. So when you're choosing a psychic or an intuitive, a medical healer, whatever you want to call someone, do your very best to choose someone who's happy, fulfilled, enjoys their life, because that means they're in a place of balance. I don't believe your mother would ever show me a straitjacket. I don't believe she ever would. I don't even think she felt that in life. Seriously, I don't believe that. So the other side, this is always the interesting question, because you're right. Everybody wants to know, especially parents of children who have crossed. They want to know, are they okay? Everybody's okay on the other side. Everyone's okay. They're fine. They don't have a body. They don't need food. They can feel people, other beings, so they don't feel lonely. They don't have to procreate, although maybe that would be fun. They don't have to work. They don't need a house. It's a very different reality. So everybody's great on the other side. Even people who were miserable on earth elevate their perception when they cross over. I do think, though, that, if anything that this psychic said that was close to at least my perception of what I'm experiencing, is that your mother wants to be more of a mother now that she's not tempted by things that could distract her. Yeah, so she's practicing motherhood on the other side. I see her standing on the third layer of your auric field, and she's practicing. Some people do a lot of their growth once they die. Some people do a lot of growth while they're dying, especially if they have a long hospice experience, or, they've been dying for years and years. And like they have a disease process that's slow, but it's terminal. So a lot of people do work in different ways. Obviously, people who listen to a podcast like mine, people who are interested in spirituality, they do a lot of work while they're in a body consciously. They get therapy, they get a coach, they go to retreats, they read books on spirituality and self-help. So it's almost like they're doing too much, trying to evolve. But your mom is doing a lot of her work now. So some people are there. It's almost like they have a secretary attached to them while they're in physical form, because the universe goes, oh yeah, they're not going to do therapy, or if they do, it's not going to work. They're not going to listen. They're not going to follow instructions. They're going to pick a terrible therapist or something like that. So there's almost like this automatic note taker, artificial intelligence, but spiritual intelligence secretary on the other side, taking notes about, oh, we need to work on this. And, oh yeah, and that perception. Oh yeah. And they make a list. And then someone like your mother crosses over. And once she rested, because her body went through a lot. So she was in a healing chamber for several months after she passed. And that can be a little uncomfortable, because sometimes when people are in healing chambers, when their energy's in a healing chamber on the other side, you don't feel them as easily or quickly after they pass, where other people will feel their loved ones close to the time of their death, because more of their energy is present for a memorial or a funeral, and energy can be elevated after someone crosses, because so many people are reaching out to their family members and friends, and flowers are being sent, and there's a lot of compassionate people in their life as they're picking out caskets or how they want the body to be treated after death. So that can be a high vibrational experience. the mind doesn't think that, but the body's elevated in its energy. So because your mother was in this healing chamber, there may not have been as much connection with her because her energy was kind of, and they had to build up her energy so that she could fly freely on the other side and have all the experiences she wanted. Because the energy that's in our body is part of our soul. And when we cross, that energy leaves our body and joins the rest of our soul, which is in the heavens. So she's doing her work now. So she stands on the third layer of your auric field and yells at you, "I'm proud of you. Good job." And all these other things she's learning about being a more present, available, conscientious parent. And she's taking her role very seriously. Nobody has to learn how to reparent if they don't want to. Nobody has to learn anything if they don't want to, especially when you're on the other side. You have a better understanding of the essence of free will. But she wants to, and I think it's adorable. If you want to feel her more, you got to raise your frequency. And you know how to raise your frequency regarding your dad. Now you need to raise your frequency regarding your mother. So that means you have to think of really, really, really happy things that may be unrelated to her, so that you can be in a matching connection, like the same radio station sort of thing. But she's fine. Yeah, I hope that's helpful.
Hi, Marie. This is Sari from Colorado. And I actually met you in person at an energy event in Kent a month or so ago.
Yeah.
And really loved your energy. And I'm really loving the podcast. My question is around my father who passed away. I am honoring his 14th year of passing, to going to the other side. He was 57 when he died through a struggle with leukemia and the side effects of all of the cancer treatments. It's my year of adventure this year as I'm turning 50 in August.
So young.
And I wanted to find out if he had any messages for me. I feel like he's with me all the time. I see him in the lilacs in the spring, and I see his presence around me. I know he's here with me, loving me, cheering me on. But I would just love to know if he has a message for me as I hit this milestone birthday. And just celebrate him and thinking about him in this 14th year of him transitioning. Thank you so much for what you do for the world. I really appreciate you. And that's it. Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers. And I'm sorry about your dad's passing. He first showed me, so people who die in a hospital or in some sort of medical facility, or maybe it's related to the medical facility, they always show themselves to me in a hospital gown, and they show me the back with it open and I can see their butt cheeks. It's just a metaphor. A lot of times I'll see IVs, like they're dragging IVs in the hallway, and you can see their backside. So your father wanted me to know right away that he did die of cancer, because that's where I worked, right, in the cancer wing. And he still has, and I've heard this before, not from everyone, but maybe 25% of the people who've crossed over due to certain types of illnesses. He's still a little annoyed. He said he wouldn't have gone through all those treatments if the physicians had been honest with him. And so he and I were having a mental telepathic conference where I'm saying a lot of oncologists believe, because some of their patients do survive even very challenging cancers with low percentages of recovery, that this patient could be another one of those survivors. So it's not that they're dishonest, but they aren't as honest as they could be. So he's annoyed by that. And he said he would have chosen a different path. He probably wouldn't have done as much intervention. He would have just gone on vacations with his family. He shows me a picture of like laying on a beach, looks like the south of France, and, is just hanging out and doesn't care about anything, but he feels great because he doesn't have as much chemicals in his body and he's on pain control. So he just wishes that first and foremost, we would advance our technology. And I'm telling him, we're working on it. We're working on it. It's just modern medicine, like any other institution, is slow. It's slow. Think about our educational system. I mean, kids don't want to learn in a crowded room with 30 or 40 people all trying to learn the same way at the same time. They don't want that anymore. That's old school, but it hasn't changed yet. So yeah, he wasn't happy about all the things that happened. But he does say his family is incredible, was incredible, devoted, connected to him. And he feels like he never left. You know, he loves the other side. He loves not being in pain or having to do things that he says were a waste of his time. I mean, literally, he's very annoyed about this, which I understand. I get it. But he feels like he's very much still nestled in the embrace of his family, and he couldn't be more grateful. He says it's the best outcome for him to be on the other side, to be physically comfortable, but yet feel cocooned in the love of those people he still loves that live on earth, you know, his family. So we can pretty much assume your father's not adventuring too far on the other side. He's feeling very tethered to his family, and that's fine. He has free will. It gets to do whatever he wants, whatever he wants. He wants me to tell the story. I, you know, again, I'm having this mental telepath. Are you sure you want me to tell that story? I don't know. It's not very positive. I'm like, fine, I'll tell a story where we had a patient when I was a nurse in the hospital, probably close to the same age as your father, in her 50s. And she was very sick. She was in the hospital for months and months and months and months. And, you know, when people are young, doctors will even do more to try to save them. And she suffered a lot through the treatments that she had. And she agreed to all of that as well. And she did die from probably the same thing as your father, side effects of everything that she went through. I think it was some sort of fungal infection that took her life from all the medication she took. I can't say 100%, but it was something like that. And I remember, this is the part your dad wants me to say, I remember her oncologist, who was not my favorite oncologist, but, you know, I liked him, but he was not my favorite. And he was charting. There was a lot of people at the desk. It was the day after she had passed. And we were all kind of looking in her room because she had been on the floor for a very long time. So we all knew her and her family, you know, more than maybe some other patients who were just on the floor for a few weeks. And he said, well, at least she didn't die of cancer. And we all just kind of like, in those days, myself and the other nurses, we didn't speak up as often as we could have. I would definitely have said something today. We all spoke amongst each other. Like, it doesn't matter. She passed away, you know, and she passed away because of the medications we were giving her. So your dad's still kind of in that boat, still kind of nursing his disappointment with modern medicine. And I'm telling him that, and he already knows this, that souls choose how they're going to leave Earth. He goes, I know. Everybody tells me this. I know. But he sends kisses to you and love to all of you. You are still in the bosom of his heart. He loves you all very much. Thank you, everyone, for listening to the show. Remember, I'm teaching now. I teach a lot in the fall, winter, and spring. I don't teach in the summer. I usually do a retreat, and we're still looking for a hotel, but in Canada right now. And visit energyintuitive.com. Look out for the Shift Network or join my newsletter because we'll let you know when I'll be teaching an advanced course on the shift coming up next month. Thank you, everyone. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.